Hi, this is Scott Ware, the publisher of Radiance magazine at radiancem.com. And this is Interviews on the Xpnsion network. And I have with me today a very special coach, a soul coach, Doris Garrett. Welcome, Doris.
Thank you. Hello, Scott.
Hello. So in fact, your website is oceansoulcoaching.com. Isn't that right?
Ocean Soul Life Coaching, yes.
oceansoulLifeCoaching.com. Thank you.
Yes.
And now, what's the difference between being a life coach and being like a soul life coach?
Well, for me, I find my soul when I meditate. I mostly dive deep into the ocean. So that's why the name Ocean Soul Life Coaching. But I'm also an intuitive life coach. So I try to listen to the clients, what it's not easy for the client to hear. I try to listen to it very closely. And the ocean means just a lot of healing for me.
Oh, that's very beautiful. And we're in the pandemic still, and I imagine a lot of people are needing coaching these days just to maintain, or just we seem to all be broken down in many ways. A lot of the things we're used to are going away, a lot of the institutions, a lot of the ways of being. Are people
Yes.
coming to you for that, to find out maybe who they are and how to navigate that new self in this new world?
Absolutely, especially at the beginning by last year, it was so new for so many people. And I normally don't coach my friends, but they came to me and said, Doris, we pay. I'm like, no, I'm not going to charge. I didn't charge for a few months. And I just coached people through this because it was something totally new, and they blocked. They thought you're limited. And I said, no, your mind is never limited. Even when the government tells you cannot see your family or something, there's always ways. So we focus on the solution more than on the problem.
Okay. So even your friends are coming to you. They know you are a soul coach and a life coach. And people are just, they're just not used to this, right?
Yes, they are not used to that. They cannot visit somebody. They have to think about, especially this year, like for Christmas, they weren't allowed to have family members what they normally have, or also dating. Many people go and they say, where can I meet people? What can I do? I'm not a dating coach, but also separation. I had people, and then of course, the pandemic. If somebody separated, the whole pandemic put a whole cloud over their life.
But isn't it true that if people, I imagine people try to cling to the old normal. They think that something close to a new normal is going to be close to what the old normal is. And that's just not true, is it?
No, it's not perfect, but it's a wonderful wake-up call. It's a wake-up call how much we can expand, how much we actually can do. For me, it was a blessing too, because I had more time for myself. So I meditated and I looked more to my soul, and I found so many things I liked. I changed my music style. I'm more into street art. I'm totally rediscovered myself in the more calm time when I stopped thinking what I cannot do. I was like, okay, what can I do?
So what about surrender and letting go? How important are those things in this process?
Letting go, I think it's an energy what's very important, because we shift through life situations. We shift through being a kid, being a teenager, just seeing the big picture, to a grown-up. But letting go, it's our belief system. And it's so important to have the expansion, to have a consciousness of, okay, I'm shifting here. I feel a shift. If something doesn't fit you in that life situation anymore, it's you feel better when you let go. But you're stuck mostly because you don't know how to let go. And then when I talk to my clients, they come up with beautiful ways what fits for them to how to let go. There are beautiful different scenes we come up with.
I mean, when we talk about there's letting go and there's letting go, right? And as we move into this new world and we look at our divinity, our connection to source, letting go can mean much bigger things, like even who we were, who we are as mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, husbands and
Absolutely.
wives, and just the old definitions just don't work as well for many people. And moving into that new terrain of whatever that is, there can be fear and concern there. How do you help people with that?
We look for tools. Like for some people, letting go, they like cards, like those spiritual reading cards, and they just pull a card every day, how they connect again to the higher selves.
Mm-hmm.
Belief is very important, especially your own belief. So if it's something they really connect with, it's easier for them. If a person doesn't believe in letting go, we find other tools. Like I had a client that we walked at the ocean, and she said, Doris, I feel it's stuck, and what's happening, the molecules are so stuck in us. So I told her to scream it out in the ocean. And she was screaming, and I said, that's not a big scream. I touched her again here, and she did a bit, and she said, oh my God, I feel so much better. And from that point on, when we had that base, we worked on tools how she can let go. It's actually surprisingly, people are more open for that. And I think it's because they have to. We don't have a chance anymore.
Well, and you can do remote healing. They don't need to be with you at the beach, right?
No, I just give them ways, and my way, it's a different way. So I let them, I ask them questions to find what fits well for them. And so it sinks in, because my way wouldn't work with everybody or with most people. So we find their way, so it sinks in, and they can actually go forward from here on.
So if someone is watching this on the Xpnsion network in Alabama or Delaware or Oregon, and they want to call you for some remote healing, what can they expect? What kind of people are moving towards you for?
All kinds of different people, all kinds of different people. Right now I have a lot of German-speaking clients.
Sure.
And it's funny because I can relate to the culture, to everything. So all kinds of people. And the first thing we do, they talk to me that I have a little bit of field where they are coming from. And then I tune almost into them. I'm like, why are they coming from? And mostly they tell me about their childhood or what really bothers them, or sometimes just a recent event, what really bothered them or what happened. And then we go more into the feelings. We don't stay long in drama. We try to heal the drama quite quickly. That's more than a different area.
You mentioned going into the feelings. I mean, it's sort of cliche to say men have a more difficult time accessing their feelings, but what's the reward when people do learn to access their feelings more about what they're feeling about anything instead of pushing them down?
The big reward is that they realize it was a perception how they saw the situation. It wasn't really a feeling. So example, if somebody's really mad at you, they're like, oh, she was mad at me and she did this and this. I'm like, no. And then we look at the other person's side. And there could be 5 totally different things, but we don't know what happened, why that other person reacted like that.
Right.
So then I come back to my client and I ask him, when was the first time you felt that way? And then they look at me like, and then they tell me in childhood, or when they were 7 or 11 or something. And then we go in that feelings and we heal that feeling.
Okay.
Because when they need healing, it's mostly because they covered up an emotion so deep that they can't find it anymore. Most people then with alcohol, drugs, eating, all kinds of things, we cover them up, but it's still inside of us.
And it's so tricky, especially when you got used to, because many of us weren't taught to let the feelings flow, let them out. And even though some people would avoid these explosions, actually they can be very helpful, because at least you're getting it out. And even though there's drama, it doesn't have to last forever. That's better than having it submerged and it keeps coming up at different times.
Exactly. And it's very important to listen to your feelings, where they come from. And then you still have life situation, but you react differently. Because now I'm a growing person. I feel complete. I feel healed. I feel I'm I'm very lovable. So they are not reacting that very quickly to how they would react when somebody pointed finger at them before.
Okay. I'm on your website, oceansoulcoaching.com. There's a testimonial. It says, I was briefly introduced to Doris after one of her presentations. Just those few moments talking with her inspired me to go home and forgive a very hurtful non-friend, not because she deserved it, but because I needed to release the pain in order to have peace. It was not easy to continue the feeling of forgiveness, which is why Doris is on retainer as my life coach. Thank you, Doris. Is that typical?
It happens yes. I inspire people. I think I'm naturally a very happy person. They click into my aura quite quickly. And then I open up to them, and I always tell them forgiveness is one of the most important things to move on. And it has nothing to do with the other person. The other person just showed you where you haven't healed yet.
What? Okay. The other person shows you where you haven't healed yet. What else do you tell the person to help them get over their anger at that person? Because when we forgive someone, the hard thing about it is we want to stay right. And when you forgive someone, it's like the whole thing of right and wrong just goes out the window, right?
Exactly. But how if somebody hurts me and I'm angry at them, how I see if it's right is my perspective. It doesn't mean it's the truth. And we look at that, how many other angles the person could come in.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm looking at your website here, showing it on the screen. The Butterfly book is something you wrote. What's that book about?
I come from a long line of storytellers. All my grandmas and my mom, they are storytellers. And I go to school, elementary school, and tell very old story from the middle age time. And I wrote stories to my two daughters. And people saw them and they said, oh, you need to publish them. And I did. And the book is actually, there are 5 stories. In this book are 5 stories in English and the same one in German. Okay. And the book is already out for 10 years and still people are buying them. People love them. It's a very philosophical children book. Okay.
And you have another book called The Soon-to-Be Ex-Wife Cookbook. What's that all about?
Here you can tell, Scott, that my life shifted from a very nice children book. It was always, I had a boyfriend when I was in my 20s, and he came home totally drunk. And there was no point in talking to him or having a discussion. I was cooking spaghetti and I put a can of cat food in the pasta sauce. And just that feeling of rewarding and just the fun, and that title is since then in my head, Soon to Be Ex-Wife Cookbook. And then I work with the herbalist and I asked her, hey, do you want to write a book with me, a really fun book? And we had so much fun putting the book together. And so many people are just blowing away. Just like it's a book with 2, there is a cookbook. You can put all that stuff in it, but you don't need to. It has very healthy recipes and there are affirmation and healing and all that jazz in the book.
What kind of advice are you giving these days for how people can thrive during the quarantine, as far as, you've posted pictures of you with your daughters and you seem to be very affectionate with them. Human touch is probably very important. What are you recommending for people these days?
Be present. Be present in every moment. Nature and be present. And tune into yourself. I think what I realized, I had time for myself. I could tune into myself. I looked at nature totally differently. When I walk with my dog, I have a tree. I named the tree. I looked at the tree. I was really present. Also with my daughters, I'm present because they're teenagers and they go through stuff. What I need to hear, what I want to listen, because loneliness, especially for the pandemic, it's a feeling of nobody cares. Nobody loves me. So I really want to make sure. So we did little trips and everything. So we did the best we could.
That's what most people all they can do. And that has to be good enough. And we have to just accept that sometimes. Yeah, being present. Talk a little bit about appreciation and gratitude.
Oh, that's very important for me. That's the first thing I do in the morning. I meditate and then I write all the stuff down, what I'm grateful for. The list right now, because of the pandemic, is mostly the same.
Yeah,
But I think it's so, so important, especially now. It's not only writing it down, feeling it, feeling the presence of being thankful, feeling how I want to feel today. Not just writing it down and then be done with it. I also have cards. I like cards a lot. I pull a card for the day so I connect better with my higher self or my inner child. And it just takes a few minutes. And I start the day totally differently.
with intention.
Yes, attention. And also we have in our kitchen next to the coffee machine, we have a little yard where we put notes in what are we grateful for. And every new year we empty it.
Because if we
And
don't, go ahead.
And it's beautiful because it mostly doesn't have anything to do with money. We are grateful for the neighbors. We are grateful for gifts people give us, or for a rock we found, or for the beautiful sunset. It's very interesting.
Because if we don't do it, the world will do it to us. If we don't decide what our intention is for the day, and I've fallen in this trap and forgotten to do that, then I'm just sort of, okay, the day is here, I got to do some things. And there's sort of a clash, as opposed to if I'd set a clear intention, it would have made a big difference.
Right? Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Especially, I think especially with all the cell phones and everything goes so fast, learning to being really like present in the moment. It's one of the most important things. And also how we want to feel the whole day. Just
Right.
putting that, because the universe answers through vibrations. So how do I adapt to things?
You know, some people say everything that's happened has already happened, and that you know, the whole thing about free will, that one way to look at it is it's happening, it's going to happen the way maybe it's already been preordained to happen, if you will, but our free will is in the choice of how we choose to experience what's happening.
Absolutely. Like the last 2 minutes are gone. They are gone, but I can choose from now on if I would be mad at somebody. That's
Right.
gone, but I can choose how I want to feel the next 2 minutes. Absolutely.
There's another testimonial that says, when my mother passed, I thought I had unresolved issues. Doris sat me down on many occasions and opened me up to the world of release and forgive. I feel so much better because I realized we really did not have issues. I'm so grateful to have Doris and help guide and support me during my ups and downs. What's the difference between release and forgive? What does release involve?
Release is a belief system, what's stuck in you. It
Hmm.
can be good or bad. And forgive is something what was hurt, what a feeling you were really hurt with. And in that case, you know, it's also, I always tell the people who hurt you, in that case, she didn't know any better.
Right.
That mother did the best she could. And to open her up to just that belief system. And it was a very nice journey. It was very nice.
How much of your coaching is, say, really down to earth versus how much of it is intuitive and it comes to you based on your connection with that person?
Probably the first few times are intuitive, and then we start to know each other more and more, and then it's more free spirit. But I always try to be like, before I do my coaching, before I have a session, the first 15 minutes I block out everything, I do my singing bowl, I make sure I'm totally present with the person and clear my mind, because I totally focus on my client.
If someone is thinking about booking a session with you and they go to oceansoulcoaching.com and there's something they can press that can schedule a session with you, what do you recommend they do in preparation for that first session with you?
I would say the first 15 minutes phone call is for free. Call me. Some people don't want to go on the website. I book them like over the phone. But what they should do, write down what they want to work on. And even if we just answer 1 or 2 questions from them, that's perfectly fine, because we have a whole hour. but we talk about that. And then the next time, just write it down. It's also to write it out, and then they don't forget, because they could be in a hurry and then just make it at 5 and be totally not prepared. But if they wrote it down for the week, and then it's more smooth. It goes more smoothly.
Okay.
Or sometimes they just text me, can I call you? When I have time, I said yes, or yes at 5 or at 6. And then, oh, this happened today. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Okay. I imagine it's very gratifying when you hit that stride with somebody, you get in the flow with them, and you're able to guide them or help them see things that they've been holding on to, that they could just be so much freer and more powerful if they let them go.
Yeah, exactly. And we are so stuck, and we see it, the situation, but the other person may see it totally differently. Or we don't know why that other person reacted that way to us. But we have the belief system, that's why. And, so it's more ease when we start to heal from in here.
So is it hard to give those things up, or you have ways of making it easy?
There are people who are pretty stuck.
Yep.
And there are also people who cover that, like if they're angry or hurt and they constantly open a glass of wine or a whiskey, is the feeling who makes them let loose. So we replace the whiskey or the wine or the cigarette with something else. Mm-hmm. So but some people, they are willing, they are ready, it's easy. They don't need many coaching lessons, and I have actually clients who I had a year ago, and like 6 months later, they still ask me a question. I'm more than happy to help them.
I knew a coach once who had, I don't remember what they charge per year, but it's like a deluxe package, and it includes anytime they need help, almost any time of day they can call that person. Do you have that sort of arrangement? Especially
when I know them better, like by the third hour, and then I know how important it is. And of course, I'm here for them. Of course, it's my passion to help people, to make them feel better, heal them, see them. It's not always like they're in the mud. It's almost like you hold their hand and stand on a table with them and say, see, here's the sun.
How important is the heart in all of this?
Oh, the heart is very important. The heart keeps a lot of memories. Some people are not connected to those memories. They're very important emotions. They are mostly stuck in their head. So I actually have coaching clients, not many, but we breathe and we hold our hand to the heart so they connect better. I think the heart is very, very important. And with that comes the self-love. And I always tell them, you are responsible of your own heart. And with that comes great power.
Because isn't an access to the soul is through the heart, right?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Yeah, if we're just staying up in our head, then it's just all that ego stuff.
Yeah.
And we stay stuck. But
I think the perfect balance is the mind, the soul, and the heart. And that's why I use different tools. Like sometimes I use my cards to connect more with the soul.
Okay.
And I have days where I need my mind to ground me. But I think that's the beauty of being human.
And you mentioned 15 minutes free consultation with you?
It's a phone call. Like if they don't want to go for a website, I prefer that they at least look at the website so they know what I do, and then they can call me. 15 minutes is free, and we go from there.
Okay, that's a generous offer, and that's oceansoulcoaching.com.
Ocean Soul Life Coaching, yes.
Okay. Well, okay. It says oceansoulcoaching.com on my screen.
Oh, this is really sorry. It should well, yeah.
Okay, so maybe both. Let's see.
Oceansoulcoaching.com. That's the website. Yes, you're right. Sorry, Scott. Sorry.
Okay.
You're right. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't use it very often.
No problem. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No, Doris, this has been great. I think this is enough for people who they've gotten a sense of you. They know what you're about, and people who resonate with you will reach out, because these are challenging times, and we can all use a little help sometimes, a little guidance, even if it's not I know you're not the kind of person that gives guidance that you think someone should do, that you help them see what their soul essence already is, who you know, their own direction, their path.
That's correct. Because what works for me mostly doesn't work with somebody else. And they may be excited about it, but then they let go after 2-3 months. And I want that it sinks in for them, because we have different personalities. It sinks in for them. And when they are in 3 months in that situation, oh, I did this one, or I did this tool, or that helped me really.
Right.
And sometimes they shift their whole life in a different direction.
Wonderful. Well, Doris, this has been great. Thank you for doing this interview.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was fantastic.
Absolutely. And thank you all out there for watching this on Xpnsion Network. This is Interviews. My name is Scott Ware with Radiance Magazine. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.